You see, life is not what it's meant to be when all you're doing is the sweet stuff. The bitter stuff seems like you have to understand that the bitter stuff is what builds you up. That's the actual material of the construction of building the house. The bitter stuff. The sweet stuff is when you're able to glance at the work and say, job well done. The bitter stuff is the grunt work. They're getting broken down, they're getting built back up, the emotional baggage, all that stuff. Humans go through a lot in this life. That's the bitter stuff. Seasons come, the trees withering, it's a dry season, you feel like you're in the desert and this and that. But then comes the rain. That's the sweet stuff. And then all of a sudden now, because the rain is hitting you, you're like, oh, look at that rain. But say you live on a constant place of it just raining. Like if you woke up and you just ate caviar and you ate crab legs and lobster, you would say, "Man, what a life." I don't eat that stuff, but I'm saying for people that are rich, they like that stuff. Say you woke up and you ate that, you would say, "Bro, high five, sign me up for that." No, say that you woke up the next day and you did it again and again, the next day after that. After a month, 30 days, you'd say, "Yeah, I'd want to change up the diet and this and that," because it loses its essence and its meaning. The only reason that it's special is because you do it once in a blue moon. And now we're having caviar, let's say. We never have caviar. That's what makes it special. When you just practice giving yourself a lot of sweetness, it loses its essence. And in grunt work, where the actual building is at, where the actual growth, development, where life is really at, is in the grunt work. That's where people avoid. They're like, oh, it's too hard. Oh, it's I'm gonna like that type of attitude. But that's where life is at. That's what gives meaning to the other stuff, the sweet stuff, right? So, first and foremost, let's just really have that basic understanding that it's. And why am I making this video? I'm going to the beach today. I'm going to the beach right now with my family, right? And we're gonna, go out. The beach is the beach. So the beach is a nice place, and most people go there for vacation. Most people go there to de-stress and this and that. The fact is that when you live your life pursuing righteousness, and when you do right, and you're on top of the bar, and you're responsible, and everything is like all your ducks in a row. Not everything is like that. There's a time and a season to like now put your feet up. Now enjoy the hard work, the labor. Go to, enjoy your family and this and that. There's a time and a season for everything. Whatever season you find yourself in, you'll know it by the fruit that it's bearing. Some people got to put in work right now in this season so that they could enjoy it in the next season. Some people right now they're just enjoying the fruit of everything that they put in. Investing in their future, investing in their character, investment in their relationships around them, investment. And guess what? Sowed. Now it's time to reap. And you know it. You feel like God is pleased with you, but you also are pleased with what you're looking at, right? Because when you paint a painting, there comes a point of time where you're like, wow, that's a really nice painting. And everybody else is looking at it and say, wow, that's really nice. That's the point where you're now reaping. That's the reaping point. But up to that point, hours and hours and hours of precision and detail work we're going in. And that's not a lot of fun, is it? Unless you have the mind frame that it is fun. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys. For example, the grunt work doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to suck. It doesn't have to, like, you could look forward to it. It's a mind frame. It's a mindset, right? So because it's inevitable, and everything that is in life, certain things are inevitable. Like bad days are gonna come, storms are gonna come, right? Bad news is gonna come. These things are inevitable, right? The best thing you can do for yourself is to prepare for that. It's not to be like, no. It's to prepare. And how do you prepare? Well, first and foremost, you understand that this is life. a very basic understanding of what could happen, you prepare for it. You know what? If somebody gives me a call saying somebody died in my family or this or that, I understand fundamentally that this is a part of life. So I kind of prepare myself in a way where, hey, don't, how do I put this? You got to have a basic understanding of God, the devil, life, humans, and how they operate. Once you understand that, you can receive good news and bad news and filter it out through those lenses that you've already kind of put in motion in place. I know that my family's saved, so it's not goodbye, it's see you later. It's still a tough pill to swallow. Nonetheless, you will grieve. It will suck. But it's one of those systems that you process it through because you created a system for yourself to run it through a funnel in that category and say, okay, you know, this day inevitably was gonna happen, and all right. And so now you step up to a plate and you handle it accordingly. You don't freak out, you don't break, you don't buckle, you don't flip over tables, you know, you don't lash out to people. No. This is the part of life, right? And I rebuke that from happening in the name of Jesus. But I'm just using different examples that life will happen. Good things will happen too. Good, very good things will happen too. Like prosperity and blessing, like good things. You ought to have a place reserved for that to happen in your mind and heart, and hey man, I could receive my breakthrough today. Hey, today wonderful things could happen. You know, as a matter of fact, you should set yourself up with that type of, you know, thinking positive kind of thing. So there's a different category for everything that could potentially happen, both good and bad, and there ought to be a reaction already predetermined of how you will approach that situation. A man understands that if there's a break-in the middle of the night, he's going to act accordingly. So he sets himself up with protection and a game plan within his own mind. This is what I'll do, right? Obviously, that we don't. Nobody wants that to happen, but there's a system in place just in case, right? Same thing with finances. Same thing with your children. Same thing with your spouse. Same thing with your, you know, everybody. Like you set up a certain type of conduct to approach every situation from according to the outcome that you want to see in the end. The last nugget I'll give you is look at things from the end to the beginning. Go to the end of the story and see how you want the story to end, and work yourself from the end to the beginning. So in other words, your children, you see your children prosperous, head on straight, headed in the right direction, married, beautiful life, kind of like prosperous, but full of wisdom, godly, and all of this. That's what you wish for your children. Okay, go to the end of the story and work yourself, which that is the end of the story. That's how you see them. Okay, before you ever, you know, get there, you got to see it. Okay, I see. That's what I see my children being. Go and do those things accordingly to what's going to feed that. You want them godly? Feed them godliness. The Bible, examples, leadership, something to look at, right? And you start to structure their character to clean up after themselves, to say yes sir and no ma'am and stuff like that. That has to do with like showing respect. And you're going to build that because you painted the picture. It's finished. And now you're working from that. You're like, okay, this is what I want. This is what he's lacking. This is what I have to feed him. Big difference between that and going day by day, not knowing what's going to happen to them, how they're going to end up, and just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping everything flows right. Big difference between setting yourself up for success and hoping for success to just sporadically appear. So you can put things in motion today. You can put things in motion today by doing small little increment details of life. You've heard of detailing a car? How people go into a car and they detail it and they wipe the dashboard and all this, and They do like little things that, seems irrelevant. Some people, they get a toothbrush and they go within the air vents and they get all the dust out of there. In your life, there's details about your mentality. There's details about how you approach decisions, either with procrastination, fear, anxiety, doubt. Details matter. Work on those details so that your latter future can be, those things can't be a hindrance to your latter future. Those things are out and new things are in, because why? You put them in. You implemented them in. Get out of your system wishful thinking. Put things on purpose. I'm going to eat today because on purpose I'm going to go and fetch out food. I'm going to get in my car and go. I'm not going to hope that somebody brings me food. Does that make sense? Go and get what you want. You've heard this 1,000 times. Be a go-getter. But it's twofold. It's like, yeah, in actuality, in reality, in physical form, go and fetch out what you want. But before you do that, the first thing you should do is work on your mind and heart. And those details I'm talking about. The doubt, the reservations, the lack of faith, all of those things is what gets you not to move in reality. So work those things out. Prayer, but go up to it. Challenge it. Question it. Where do you stem from? What are you rooted at? What happens that you're here? Why do I believe this? Why do I believe that other people can't have breakthrough, but I can? What is the root of that? Doubt. Why? Why do I believe that? Go to the memory of when you were hoping and wishing for something to have a breakthrough and you felt disappointed. Can I tell you that I've been disappointed many times, hoping and wishing for something to happen and then not? But I've learned that each and every disappointment was a setup for later on that I wasn't able to see. In other words, you get broken down to get built back up better. It's really, really true. It gets to a point where all of this ego, all of this pride, all of this, like, whatever life throws at you, you can handle it. Imagine being built up that way, where anything that's being thrown at you, you can handle it, because you're not the center of your life. God is. Why is God the center of your life? Because God got you out of the way through the system that he's putting you through. All of the grievances, all of the disappointment, all of that. You cared less and less about your will being done. And there comes a point in time where it just breaks you. You let go and you don't care anymore. You literally cared so much once upon a time, and it gets to a point where you don't care anymore. You might not know this. All of that is being molded. All of that is part of your walk. And you might think bad luck, disappointments, just bad break, like God doesn't care, like I'm forgotten, I'm overlooked, the black sheep. All of that goes through a person's mind when they're going through that. There comes a point in time, I kid you not, where when you just feel like, what's the point? What's the use? It doesn't happen, and this and that. You get broken down all the way. That when you get down all the way, there's no place but up at that point, and that's where God begins. And He's like, now that was your image getting broken down. Now I'm going to build my image. God says. So then He starts to build you up, and then He revives something in you that has to do with faith, that has to do with believing again, that has to do with inspiration and life and all of that. And it's like, whoa, I'm being revived, but it's different. I'm not the center of attention. It's not for me. He wants to use me to give to other people. The vision here has gone from gimme, gimme, get, take, and all of that, me, myself, and I, to looking outwards and not looking inwards. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It becomes about other people. It becomes about God. but it's still about you in the sense that God makes it about you, and it's still about you in the sense that you are working on your character. You're working on the things that are in the way of you receiving that quality life. Selfishness is in the center of every miserable life. Everybody that's like, everybody that has baggage in their life, toxicity, poison, everybody that has vileness, stuck-upness, greed, everybody that's stuck on self has selfishness in their heart. And that yields the fruit of being hard, like hard-hearted, and being out for yourself. And you think you're getting the best life because, right, it's all about get. God said it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. When you make things about other people and God and stuff like that, you're pouring yourself out and you get lavished with blessings. And it's a gasoline that God puts in you. And he's like, this is where true life is at. True wealth is at. I can make this video longer, and I hope I'm doing it justice. I'm trying to tell you that the broken down, the grunt work, it's actually good. It's really good. It's just that while you're going through it, it sucks because it's hard, it's painful, it's suffering and all of that. But it yields the best type of fruit, the best type of crops. But the sweetness, the sweet stuff and all that, it yields bitterness later on. Because nothing in life moves you when all you're doing is sweet. Nothing moves you. Because when you're on top of the mountain consistently, and somebody tries to give you a gift or a present or this or that, imagine like you're not swayed by anything in life. Because all you're doing is eating sweet all day, every day. And now it's like, although it tickles the ears, no. So then those people are searching for meaning. Those people are searching for purpose. Those people are searching for deeper things. They're saying, man, this material stuff, it's not doing it for me anymore. So then they start to be open to the spiritual things in life. And you're doing the spiritual things in life before you get to the other part, the sweetness of life. And that's the difference. Because once you get the sweet things in life, the material stuff and all that, before you get there, your character is built to sustain it. And it's not about those things anymore. When they do come, you don't lose your head over it. Like, I got this, I got that. You're like, dude, thank you. You're complimenting me on this. You want it? I'll give it to you. This is not about you. It's not about that either. It's about God. It's about working on yourself, your image, your character, right? These details. It's about just learning and understanding and growing as an individual. And doing these small little works that get you further ahead in life. Period. God bless you guys.